Ha! Another day, another chance to prove that humans are the universe's ultimate punchline, thought Jake as he strolled into the Galactic Federation Academy's gym. The cavernous space was filled with an assortment of aliens that looked like they'd been plucked from a child's fever dream after binge-watching sci-fi marathons and eating too much sugar. Jake, along with his human classmates Sarah and Zach, were the first of their species to attend the prestigious academy. They'd been warned that today's physical assessment would be challenging, a word that made the alien staff giggle nervously whenever they said it. Little did they know that for humans from Earth, lovingly dubbed Death World by the galactic community, challenging usually meant Tuesday. As the trio entered, conversation in the gym screeched to a halt faster than a malfunctioning warp drive. Hundreds of eyes and various other sensory organs swiveled in their direction. Jake could practically hear the thoughts buzzing through the air. Oh stars, the Deathworlders are here. Quick, hide the fragile equipment. I hope they remembered to file down those savage teeth of theirs. Sarah leaned in and whispered, I swear, if one more Zorlak asks me if we really drink dihydrogen monoxide, I'm going to lose it. Zach snorted. Hey, at least they stopped trying to decontaminate us every time we enter a room. Though I kinda missed the sparkly force field, made me feel like a disco ball. Their banter was interrupted by the arrival of Coach Lorbax, a being that looked like someone had tried to crossbreed an Octocruzimai with a traffic light. Its tentacles wiggled in what the humans assumed was meant to be an intimidating manner. Attention, class. Zorbax's voice boomed, aided by some sort of bioamplification. Today we will be conducting our annual physical aptitude test. This assessment pushes the boundaries of what is physically possible for sentient beings. Jake couldn't help but mutter, yeah, sentient beings who evolved on planets with the gravitational pull of a marshmallow. Sarah elbowed him, but her eyes twinkled with mirth. They'd quickly learned that what passed for extreme physical conditions in much of the galaxy was practically a walk in the park for Earthborn humans. Zorbax continued, its color-changing skin now a vibrant orange that clashed horribly with the purple gym walls. We will begin with the Endurance Gauntlet, followed by the Strength Symposium, and conclude with the Agility with Samaya. May the cosmic forces be with you all. As the coach finished speaking, a holographic scoreboard flickered to life above the gym. The humans' names sat at the bottom, a string of zeros next to them. Jake cracked his knuckles, grinning. Well, kids, looks like it's time to give our alien friends a show. The first challenge of the Endurance Gauntlet was deceptively simple: run laps around the gym's track. The catch: the track was surrounded by a field that simulated various planetary conditions. Participants must complete 50 laps, Zorbax announced. The field will cycle through environments ranging from the icy plains of Nordox to the methane swamps of Gargalax Prime. Last one standing wins. Sarah raised her hand. Quick question, coach. When you say last one standing, do you mean that literally? Because I gotta say that seems like a pretty low bar. Zorbax's skin rippled in confusion. Of course, literally. Most species can only withstand a few laps before succumbing to exhaustion or environmental stress. The humans exchanged glances, trying desperately not to laugh. 50 laps? That was barely a warm-up. As the alien students took their positions, looking like they were preparing for imminent doom, Jake couldn't help but quip, hey guys, remember when we thought freshman PE was tough? Hey, Zach chuckled. Yeah, this is like that. Except instead of Coach Johnson yelling at us, we've got a jumbo mood ring with tentacles. The starting tone sounded, and they were off. The first few laps were almost comically easy. The humans jogged at a leisurely pace, watching in amazement as their alien classmates struggled with what, to them, felt like a light breeze. Is this supposed to be difficult? Sarah asked as they passed a group of panting Arcturians on their fifth lap. Jake shrugged. Maybe it gets harder. I mean, they wouldn't call it a gauntlet if it was just a stroll in the park, right? Oh, how wrong they were. By lap 20, the environmental field had cycled through conditions that would make most Earth extremophiles pack up and call it a day. Acid rain, extreme heat, bone-chilling cold, you name it, they ran through it. And yet, the humans kept going, their Deathworlder physiology shrugging off what their classmates considered unsurvivable. You know, Zach panted as they slogged through what felt like running in maple syrup. I'm starting to think we might have had a slight advantage here. Sarah, her hair now frozen in gravity-defying spikes thanks to the last ice planet simulation, managed a breathless laugh. What gave it away? The fact that we're the only ones left running, or the look of abject horror on Coach Lorbax's face? Indeed, the coach's expression, insofar as a color-changing octopoid could have an expression, was a mix of disbelief, awe, and what might have been existential dread. Its tentacles were tied in knots as it watched the humans not just survive, but seemingly enjoy the increasingly brutal conditions. As they rounded the final turn of their 50th lap, the environmental field sputtered and died, apparently having run out of impossible scenarios to throw at them. The humans jogged to a stop, sweaty and tired, but grinning from ear to ear. Zorbax's voice quavered as it announced, the Endurance Gauntlet is complete. All three humans have passed. This is unprecedented. Jake high-fived his friends. Woo, Earth for the win. So what's next, coach? please tell me it's something actually challenging this time. The coach's skin cycled through a series of colors faster than a malfunctioning disco ball before settling on a sickly green. Next is the Strength Symposium. The Strength Symposium turned out to be a series of weightlifting challenges using gravity manipulators to simulate the mass of various celestial objects. The goal was to lift and hold these simulated weights for as long as possible. As Lorbax explained the rules, Sarah couldn't help but notice the worried glances being exchanged by their alien classmates. "Hey," she whispered to Jake, "is it just me? Or does everyone look like they're about to attend their own funeral?" Jake nodded, trying to keep a straight face. "Yeah, I'm getting some serious last meal before execution vibes here." Zach chimed in, "Maybe they're just really into dramatic pauses. Building suspense and all that." Their banter was interrupted by Zlorbax's announcement. "We will begin with simulating the mass of Minimus Moon. Participants, please step onto the lifting platforms." The humans watched in bewilderment as their classmates struggled to even budge the holographic representations of what looked like a pebble to them. Coach Jake raised his hand. "I think our gravity simulators might be broken. This feels like it weighs about as much as my breakfast burrito." Zlorbax's skin flickered in confusion. "Impossible. The Minimus Moon simulation is calibrated to exactly 1/1000th of its actual mass. Any more would be too dangerous for most species to attempt lifting." The humans exchanged glances, realization dawning. Sarah cleared her throat. "Right, of course. Super heavy. Definitely feeling the burn here. Yep." As the challenge progressed, the simulated masses increased. What started as a moon quickly escalated to planets, then gas giants, and finally entire star systems. Through it all, the humans lifted, held, and even juggled weights that, according to galactic standards, should have turned them into vaguely human-shaped pancakes. By the time they reached the lift to quantum singularity stage, most of the alien students had retreated to a safe distance, watching with a mixture of awe and terror as Jake casually bench-pressed the simulated mass of a black hole. Zach mused, easily holding what was supposed to be the weight of a neutron star. "I'm starting to think our physiology might be a tad different from everyone else's." Sarah, currently doing squats with the simulated mass of the Andromeda Galaxy, rolled her eyes. "Gee, what gave it away? The fact that we're lifting the equivalent of entire galaxies, or the fact that Coach Zlorbax looks like he's about to pass out?" Indeed, the coach had long since given up on maintaining any semblance of composure. Its tentacles were wrapped around its head, or what they assumed was its head, and it was muttering something that sounded suspiciously like "impossible. Defies all known laws of physics. Must recalibrate everything." As the Strength Symposium came to an end, with the humans having quite literally raised the bar to heights previously thought unreachable, Zorbax gathered what remained of its dignity and announced the final challenge. "We will now proceed to the Agility Arcade," it said, its voice a mix of resignation and morbid curiosity. "This obstacle course is designed to test reflexes, spatial awareness, and adaptability in extreme conditions." Jake grinned at his friends. "Extreme conditions? Huh? $10 says it's something like a slightly damp floor or a gentle breeze." Sarah snorted. "You're on. My money's on mildly inconvenient doorway or chair that's just a little too high to sit in comfortably." As it turned out, they were both wrong. The Agility Arcade was, to their surprise, actually impressive. The gym transformed into a holographic nightmare of shifting platforms, laser grids, gravity wells, and what appeared to be portals ripped straight out of a sci-fi video game. Zach whistled low. "Okay, I'll admit it. This looks kind of awesome." Zlorbax, seeming to regain some of its earlier enthusiasm, began to explain. "Participants must navigate the course, collecting tokens while avoiding obstacles. The gravity will shift randomly, and some platforms will phase in and out of existence. No one has ever completed the course with a perfect score." The coach paused dramatically, its skin cycling through a rainbow of colors. "The current record is 3 tokens collected before total system failure." The humans exchanged glances, a mix of excitement and determination on their faces. This finally might be a real challenge. "All right, team," Jake said, cracking his knuckles. "Let's show these aliens how we do things on Deathworld." As the starting tone sounded, the humans launched themselves into the course with reckless abandon. Years of playing video games, parkour in urban environments, and generally surviving on a planet that seemed designed to kill them had prepared them for this moment. Sarah was the first to encounter a gravity shift, suddenly finding herself running on what had moments ago been a wall. Without missing a beat, she adapted, using the change to slingshot herself through a series of laser grids that would have made Catherine Zeta-Jones proud. "Ooh," she shouted, snagging a token mid-flip. "This beats the hell out of PE back home." Zach, meanwhile, had discovered that the phasing platforms followed a pattern. With timing that would make a Swiss watchmaker jealous, he danced across seemingly empty space, grabbing tokens that hovered tantalizingly over what looked like certain doom. "Guys," he called out, narrowly avoiding a holographic tentacle that tried to swat him out of the air. "It's just like that old game. The floor is lava, except the lava is, the endless void of space." Jake, not to be outdone, had turned the entire experience into an improvised parkour routine. He bounced from platform to platform through portals and occasionally off his fellow humans, treating gravity less like a law and more like a polite suggestion. "Hey coach," he shouted as he sailed past a flabbergasted Zlorbax. "You might want to crank up the difficulty a bit. This is more like a moderately exciting stroll in the park." The coach, beyond speech at this point, merely gaped as its tentacles tied themselves into increasingly complex knots. As the humans tore through the course, their alien classmates watched in a state of shock that was rapidly evolving into existential crisis. Whispers rippled through the crowd. "By the cosmic egg, what are they? Is this what happens when you evolve on a planet that hates you? Quick, someone check if they're actually some kind of highly advanced AI." The course, seemingly determined to rise to the challenge, began throwing increasingly absurd obstacles in their path. Miniature black holes, time dilation fields, even a section where the laws of physics seemed to break down entirely. None of it slowed the humans down. Sarah emerged from a portal, her hair now defying gravity and possibly several other fundamental forces. "Okay, I'll admit it," she laughed. "This is actually pretty fun, though I think I just aged backwards about 3 years in that last time bubble." Zach, currently running on a ceiling, or was it a floor? In this section, directions had become more of an abstract concept, grinned. "Forget PE. This is like every sci-fi theme park ride rolled into one. Hey Jake, bet you can't collect more tokens than me while doing a handstand." Jake, who had just finished surfing a wave of quantum foam, rose to the challenge. "Oh, you are so on." What followed was a display of acrobatics, physics-defying stunts, and sheer human audacity that would have made even the most hardened extreme sports enthusiast think twice. The humans flipped, spun, and occasionally broke the light speed barrier as they turned the impossible obstacle course into their personal playground. By the time the final tone sounded, signaling the end of the challenge, the humans had not only completed the course but had done so multiple times, collecting every single token and probably inventing a few new laws of physics along the way. They regrouped at the finish line, breathless but exhilarated, surrounded by a sea of stunned alien faces. Zlorbax, its skin now a shade of white that suggested it had seen several ghosts and possibly befriended them, floated over. Its voice, when it finally managed to speak, was a mix of awe and utter confusion. That was it stammered. "Awesome," Jake supplied helpfully. "Impossible," Zlorbax finished. "You've broken every record, defied every expectation, and quite possibly violated several laws of nature." Sarah grinned. "So does this mean we passed?" The coach's tentacles waved in what might have been exasperation, surrender, or possibly the beginning of a nervous breakdown. "Passed? You've rendered the entire grading scale obsolete. We'll need to recalibrate every test, possibly rewrite our understanding of physical capabilities." Zach, still riding the high of their performance, couldn't resist. "So is that a yes on passing?" Before Zlorbax could answer, a commotion near the gym's entrance caught everyone's attention. A group of official-looking aliens, their badges marking them as members of the Galactic Federation's Education Board, came rushing in. The lead alien, a being that looked like a cross between a librarian and a particularly stern houseplant, approached Zlorbax. "We received alerts of unprecedented test scores and possible system malfunctions. What in the name of the cosmic egg is going on here?" Zlorbax's skin cycled through a series of colors so quickly it looked like a malfunctioning disco ball. "Esteemed members of the board, I can explain. You see, the humans." The Deathworlders, the lead board member interrupted, their leafy appendages rustling in what might have been concern. "Are you saying they're responsible for this?" Jake stepped forward, unable to contain himself. "Responsible? Heck yeah, we're responsible. We just aced your impossible test. Shouldn't you be, I don't know, throwing us a parade or something?" The lead board member's leaves rustled in what could only be described as a vegetative gasp. "Aced? But that's impossible," Sarah supplied helpfully. "Yeah, we've been hearing that word a lot today. I'm starting to think it doesn't mean what you think it means." The board members huddled together, their whispers sounding like a gentle breeze through an alien forest. After what felt like an eternity but was probably closer to 2 minutes, they turned back to face the humans. The lead member cleared its throat, or whatever passed for a throat in a sentient plant. We owe you an apology, humans of Earth." This was not the response any of them had been expecting. Jake, Sarah, and Zach exchanged puzzled glances. "An apology," Zach ventured. "For what?" "Giving us the most fun we've had since leaving Earth." The board members' leaves drooped slightly. "For underestimating you. For failing to understand the true nature of your capabilities." Another board member, this one resembling a cross between a jellyfish and a supercomputer, chimed in. "When we accepted your species into the Galactic Federation Academy, we may have made some assumptions." Sarah raised an eyebrow. "Assumptions? Like what?" "That we'd melt in anything stronger than a light breeze." The jellyfish computer had the decency to look embarrassed, its circuits flickering in what might have been the alien equivalent of a blush. "Well, not melt, exactly. But we did expect you to find our standard curriculum challenging." Jake couldn't help but laugh. Challenging? Buddy, the most challenging thing we've faced so far is trying to pronounce some of your names without spraining our tongues. The lead board member held up a leafy appendage. Please let us explain. You see, when we first discovered your planet, we were, shall we say, concerned. Concerned, Zach echoed. About what? Our charming personalities? Our impeccable fashion sense? He gestured to their now slightly singed and gravity-defying gym uniforms. About your survival, the jellyfish computer said bluntly. Your planet, Earth. It's unlike anything we've ever encountered. The sheer number of ways it tries to kill its inhabitants is, quite frankly, terrifying. Sarah snorted. Oh, come on, it's not that bad. Sure, we've got a few earthquakes here, a tornado there, maybe the occasional volcanic eruption. Don't forget the Australia, Jake added helpfully. The board members' various appendages waved in what could only be described as collective alarm. Exactly, the lead member exclaimed. By all accounts, your species should have gone extinct eons ago. Instead, you've not only survived, but thrived. And now it gestured to the thoroughly destroyed obstacle course behind them. Zlorbax, who had been uncharacteristically quiet, finally spoke up. They didn't just complete the course. They broke it. Repeatedly, while laughing. The humans had the grace to look slightly sheepish at this, but only slightly. Look, Jake said, trying to adopt a diplomatic tone and only partially succeeding. I get that from your perspective. Earth might seem a bit rough, but for us, it's home. All this stuff you think is impossible, it's just Tuesday for us. Sarah nodded. Yeah, I mean, half the fun of growing up on Earth is figuring out new ways not to die. It's like a really high-stakes game of tag. Except it is the entire planet. Zach chimed in. And let's be real. If Earth didn't try to kill us every now and then, we'd probably get bored. Nothing builds character like narrowly avoiding death before breakfast. The board members looked at each other, a mix of horror and fascination on their alien faces. The lead member's leaves rustled thoughtfully. Perhaps we have been approaching this all wrong. Ya think Jake couldn't help but quip, ignoring the sarcasm or possibly not recognizing it. The lead member continued. We brought you here thinking we would need to protect you, to carefully introduce you to the galactic community. But now I see. It is we who have much to learn from you. Sarah grinned. Does this mean we get to design the next obstacle course? Because I've got some ideas that would make even an Australian say crikey. The jellyfish computer's circuits lit up in what might have been excitement or terror. Possibly both. You would do that. Share your knowledge of survival. Of thriving in impossible conditions. Zach shrugged. Sure, why not? Though fair warning, our idea of team-building exercises might be a bit more intense than you're used to. Jake nodded enthusiastically. Oh yeah, wait until they try our version of dodgeball. Spoiler alert. The balls are on fire. The board members looked like they couldn't decide whether to be thrilled or terrified. It was a look the humans were getting quite used to seeing. Zlorbax, seemingly having recovered from its earlier shock, floated forward. Esteemed board members, if I may, I believe we have a unique opportunity here. The humans have demonstrated capabilities far beyond our current understanding. Perhaps it's time we revised our curriculum. The lead board members' leaves perked up. Yes. A complete overhaul of our physical education program. With the humans as our guides, we could push the boundaries of what we thought possible. Sarah leaned in to whisper to her friends. Is anyone else a little worried about how excited they're getting? I feel like we might have accidentally started an alien fitness revolution. Jake grinned. Hey, if it means we get to keep breaking their toys and calling it education, I'm all for it. Zach nodded sagely. Just wait until they discover protein shakes and pre-workout supplements. We'll have a gym full of buff aliens in no time. As the board members excitedly discussed plans for the new extreme survival curriculum now with 100% more lava pits, the humans couldn't help but feel a mix of pride and amusement. They had come to this academy expecting to learn about the galaxy, and instead, they were about to teach the galaxy a thing or two about what it meant to be human. Jake clapped his hands together, drawing everyone's attention. All right, folks, if we're doing this, we're doing it right. First lesson, the art of the high five. Trust me, it's essential for any proper workout routine. As he demonstrated the technique to a thoroughly confused but eager alien audience, Sarah and Zach exchanged amused glances. It was going to be an interesting semester, to say the least. You know, Sarah mused, watching as Jake tried to explain the concept of a fist bump to a being with tentacles. Maybe this whole cultural exchange thing isn't going to be so bad after all. Zach nodded, a mischievous glint in his eye. Oh yeah. And just think this is only gym class. Wait until they see how we handle things like debate club or school dances. As the day wound down and plans for the new curriculum took shape, one thing became abundantly clear. The galaxy might not be ready for humans, but humans were more than ready for the galaxy. And if that meant accidentally revolutionizing alien education through sheer earthling audacity, well, that was just another day in the life of a Deathworlder. The adventure was only beginning, and if this first day was any indication, it was going to be one hell of a ride. The humans couldn't wait to see what impossible task they'd ace next. After all, When you come from a planet that tries to kill you on a daily basis, the rest of the galaxy is just one big playground. And so, as the son or sons, depending on which part of the galaxy you were in, set on their first day of alien gym class, Jake, Sarah, and Zach found themselves looking forward to tomorrow, because in a universe full of impossibilities, they were the living, breathing, high-fiving proof that with enough determination, a good sense of humor, and maybe just a touch of Deathworlder insanity, anything was possible, even acing an impossible alien gym class.